Dan Hooker has been calling out the UFC and causing quite the storm. He did a recent interview with Submission Radio over here, and he said a lot in this interview that I want to cover, so I'm not going to waste your time. If you like the content, subscribe. We recently passed 2,000 subs, all that good stuff. And I want to thank you guys for all that. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the interview. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to Dan Hooker, what's next for Dan Hooker, and where the 155 division is.
And would love to see you with this BMF title fight with Max Holloway next. What was your reaction?
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, BMF title next.
Oh, that's probably the only fight in terms of the BMF that kind of makes sense. But brother, I've been sitting on the couch so long. I've been out injured in like the fight fans know that, but in most people that tune in and watch it, you know, their mind travels very slowly, and I think it's like 8 months or something since I fought. So I feel like, and speaking with the UFC, you're gonna need to get another one in and take one of these big name guys out and one of these high ranked nut guys out before you're able to step into to a big pay-per-view fight like that. So one more. Everyone's just gonna have to be a little bit more patient, and I think we got.
So, right there, Dan Hooker, his position right now, he's been in the top of 155 for years now. He's been in the top five for the last few months. He had a close fight with Gamrot. He had, I think he's on a 2 or 3 fight win streak. Let's actually go check that right now. Dan Hooker to my phone 12. He beat, yeah, 3 fight win streak, beat Mateus Gamrot by split decision, got a fight of the night bonus for it. It was that close. He beat Jamin Turner and Claudio Perez. Before that, he got killed by Arnold Allen, got submitted by Islam Makachev, lost to Chandler in Chandler's debut of Poirier, but he's been around with the best of the best around 145 and 155. Now he's in a position where he's been a top ranked guy for the last year or two, and he is a name on his own. Now, I'm not saying that Dan Hooker can carry a pay per view, but he is a guy where you put him in to any card, people are gonna buy. People are gonna be invested in it. But let's continue.
Uh, One of these guys tough fights, but get one of these guys out of the way, and then yeah, you got big things coming. It's got to be either the BMF title or the undisputed title if you're able to get past Oliveira or Arman.
Mm. By the way, they were saying that about.
Now, I completely agree with him there. Oliveira just fought for the title, got knocked out. You beat him, you're gonna get a title shot. Arman Tsarukyan, definitive #1 contender. We have a lot going on with it with Euphoria and him. And I ultimately think that that fight should be made because it just further Ilya Euphoриa's legacy and gives him more claim to the Islam fight. But at least guys like Dan Hooker who are a fight away in a very awkward situation where, and he's gonna get to it, he's waiting on either Ilya to fight Arman or Gaethje. He was supposed to fight Gaethje, and beating one of those two guys is his way to the title.
Holloway going into the Poirier fight because obviously he was coming off the Topuria knockout. Were you impressed with this version of Holloway we saw against Dustin Poirier?
Didn't see it, Cole. Didn't see it, man. Fuck.
Dude, no, that's all right, man. Well, he looked impressive. He was
Yeah.
able to get the win. The main thing was people were like, was he going to recover 100% after being taken out like that? It kind of seems like 155 is his division more so than featherweight these days.
Yeah, oh man, like he's a fighter that can can definitely come back from a loss like that. But yeah, you get taken out in the manner that he was taken out. People start to ask questions. I've been there myself. Um, the old goes from the best chin in the world to his chin is gone in about 5 seconds. So it's just how people talk. So yeah, incredible.
So I wanted to play that one there just to get a, to give you guys a feeling for how Danaker is looking at this division. And he's a really smart fighter, really smart dude. But again, like I said, it makes it difficult for a guy like Dan Urker when the division is what it is right now. But I have Elliot Tafoya coming up knocking out Oliveira. He already wants to go and fight Islam at 170. The position you are in with Ilya Taporia is this is your next guy. This is your next big star. And moving forward into the Netflix era, moving forward into the White House card, this guy is going to be the face of the UFC for the next foreseeable future. And having a guy like Dan Hooker, who has been a veteran of this division, is right there and getting a title shot. I like seeing this. I like seeing a guy who's calling out Arman, calling out his division, looking at it objectively and saying, hey, this is where everybody's at, this is where I'm at. I need to fight this guy. And this guy needs to fight this guy. It's really good to see in arguably the most crucial weight division in UFC.
He adds a lot into the mix for sure.
Let me ask you this, man. I personally don't want to see it anytime too soon, but he wants this rematch with Ilya Topuria at 155. I feel like it's too soon, though, because he just fought him at featherweight, but he's trying to build for that, and that's kind of what he wants. Some people are saying maybe it's a different fight now that he doesn't have to cut as much weight. Would you want to see those guys rematch?
Um, Probably he's got one more. I think. Yeah, like obviously Islam's going up to welterweight. Ilya will probably fight Gagey. Um, that leaves Holloway, and Holloway ain't gonna fight Arman. No one wants to see that.
So I literally have been saying on this channel, if they're going to go with Gaethje, they are not going to give Max Holloway Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan is one of the best lightweights to ever do it, but I don't think he adds on to Max Holloway's legacy. Again, Max is a former champion. Max is the former number 2 guy at featherweight. He doesn't need to win the belt. He doesn't need to chase anything but his legacy, adding big names, getting big paychecks. But I will let Dustin Dan Harker continue.
Holloway will probably fight Oliveira. Gagey will fight for the title, and then that leaves with my man Arman. That's
So Holloway, Oliveira, Gaethje, Taporia. Most likely, you do these 2 fights at the end of the year. I think that most likely Max Holloway would be the last fight for Oliveira. I do think that Oliveira would end up leaving the division. I know he beat Michael Chandler, and we are, you know, we are looking at a guy who just got knocked out by the biggest star and, arguably the guy on the best win streak right now in Ilya Topuria. So again, I really like how Dan Hooker is able to look at this division and be like, hey, Armand's 1 year, he needs to earn his shot. Dana said it. Let's go at it. I'm the number 5 contender. You're the number 1 contender. He's out here to try and add to his legacy the same way everyone else is. And I think if the UFC wants to have Armand earn his shot once again. You don't have many options there. Gaethje want to take the fight. You have Hooker who wants to fight. There's not many other names at 155 apart from the champion that makes sense for Arman. And this is Dan Hooker putting himself in that same conversation.
That's the fight I want. That's the fight that makes sense. They've told him one more. He's turned down Gamrot, who's ranked one before me. Like, let's be honest. Like, the guy's a walking bag of sand, but he is a very good fighter. And now all those big name guys don't really. They've got a good excuse to not fight him. You know, like Ilya said, he's not going to fight him. The UFC says that he needs one more. And between Arman and me, there's Oliveira. They've already had that fight. Holloway.
So basically reiterating, yeah, I'm the only one that makes sense for Arman Tsarukyan, and he makes a really good argument. He makes a perfect argument for, well, along with the fact that Dan Hooker has been a name at lightweight for years, it would be a really good name to add on to your legacy, especially when we have Dan Hooker, who's in his prime right now, looking the best he's ever been. Well, we need to see how he works in his next fight, but his last few fights, he's worked incredible.
Have a justifiable reason to avoid fighting him, and so that's been my approach since I first stepped foot in the UFC, is that I want to fight the best guys, and I think Arman's the best guy. So that's the fight that I want, and that's the fight that I think they're gonna make happen.
Dude, that would be a great fight. And by the way, I saw on Twitter, you had the first one. Someone wake up Charlie Olives, tell him we fight in November. Huh?
Yeah,
What made you want to put
like
that one out
obviously,
straight
like
away?
that's like got the biggest. That's got like the biggest because he's a huge name. He's an ex champion. He did a hell of a run. He's obviously a superstar. He's a huge name. Fight like fuck. People get upset, bro. I, I'm trying to pick a. Have you ever tried to pick a fist fight before? You know, it's not. You tap him on the shoulder and ask him how his day's going. You're trying to start a fist fight here, brother. You gotta get under the skin. I thought Islam fans were crybabies, bro. Charlie,
Man, I can't say it enough. Dan Harker honestly is the most realistic guy at 155 it looks like. He's putting his name on every fight he needs to. Gaethje, Holloway, Tsarukyan. I feel like those are the three guys for Dan Hooker. I need to move on to 7 minutes or stop right before.
is jerking him off under a bunch of towels. So, and as he's crying, it's like.
What about
That's
this other one?
around
And then side note,
spot.
Armin's a bitch and he can get it to daddy's home. I love how you put out the first tweet and you're like, wait a minute. Let me just follow it up with one more just in case.
Yeah. The Arman one's the Arman fights the that was that was because of our last discussion. He said, and on a side note, and he took shots at me out of nowhere. Bro, I'm the only one that's gonna fight you, you dumb fuck.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find the part where he talks about what the UFC is mad at him about. But again, I cannot respect him enough for calling for this fight, for calling for the fight that nobody else wants. Now you are going to see me jump through this entire video.
And then, but I still was gonna do it just because I wanted to do it for the fans. And New York, 16 weeks. Would have been a bit soon. Would have been a bit of a rush for the hand. To be good and ready by then. And then, but I still was gonna do it just because I wanted to do it for the fans and do it for the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have rushed back, and I would have fought early, and I would have fought when the hand wasn't ready, and I would have fought still kind of recovering from that injury. And then I went over to watch Kai's fight, and then, bro, they tried to get me off of bed at 7:30 in the morning. The UFC booked me for some shit, which is 3 in the morning. They wanted me to get out of bed at like 3 in the morning New Zealand time. I didn't even go out. I had like an early night, but well, like I'm not getting out of bed at 3 in the morning to do just about anything, bro. And then because I didn't start, I slept in and I didn't go to the UFC thing. They canceled my tickets to the to Kai's fight, and then so it's like I'm gonna rush back and fight injured for a company that's gonna cancel my tickets to the event when I've traveled all the way to Las Vegas. It's like I would have fought injured, but then someone at a desk is crossed my name off a list. It's like
So again, he's reiterating the same point. Well, that is a next level of petty. That is a next level of petty. You are going to have a top five contender in your most important weight division, and you're not even going to give him tickets to his training partner, his boy that he hangs around basically every day, trains with every day. Why is it that the UFC nowadays tries everything it can to have a shit relationship with its fans, with its fighters, and anybody who's not a big executive? Even then, you can talk about how Dana White has worked recently, how Dana White's promoting. You could say it's an all around thing with the UFC. But again, I get it. He got injured in March. He missed his fight. But dude, this is your top five guy. This is one of your guys that is probably going to fight for the title within the next year or two, or at least potentially could. Why are we, you know, keeping him away from one of your biggest cards in International Fight League? It makes no sense to me.
you work in the office, brother. I work in the. You think there would be a bit more respect there for guys that who literally give their life. Like, bro, I the amount of blood, sweat, and tears I poured into putting shows on for that company, and then yeah, if I thought there would have been a bit more respect there, but there's not, which is cool. Business is business. Um, we can fight on my terms, and you obviously wanted me to fight in Perth, but we can fight on my terms. You're not gonna show me any respect.
Okay, so I just checked the time. We don't have enough to watch the rest of the clips. But basically, the main point in this is that he is not going to fight injured. He is not going to fight off of his terms. And this is the sport where you need to be the most selfish athlete you can possibly be. And it pisses me off that we're in this stage where we have a guy like Dan Harker who's right there for a title shot, who's a stand and bang guy. You can throw him in a BMF fight, which I would love to see Dan Harker Max Holloway. I think it's an incredible fight. But why are we getting petty over a dude who missed, media day because it was early in the morning his time? I don't get it. I don't get it. He's the only guy calling out your number one contender that screwed you over. And I know that Dan Harker screwed you over the event right after, well, the second event right after March. But dude, what the fuck are we doing here? Elliot Warrior doesn't want to fight Arman Tsarukyan. Dan Harker's the only one that wants to do it. We got Max Holloway, who just lost to Elliot Warrior at featherweight, but looks to be a top three contender. Honestly, you can give him a title shot off of beating Gaethje and Poirier, because those two guys have gotten nearly every title shot over the last 5 years. But again, it makes no sense to me. Why are we starting drama with one of the biggest stars in your biggest division? It's beyond me. It's beyond me, but I mean, whatever. Kai watched his fight. Pantoja just is next level, but I really don't get it, man. I really don't get it. I don't get the lack of promotion. I don't get the whole making moves just to shock the fans and to shock the fighters. Like most times, the Jan McGee fight, where like they are giving these guys the most random fights they can, and then these fighters need to just go along with it without any promotion. And once they step out of line, they're gonna get fucked over. I don't know. I just wanted to make this video here. It's already 21 minutes. I will leave before Dan Hooker interview down below. But what do you guys think about Dan Hooker going scorched earth on the UFC? Do you think he's right to be pissed off? Do you think the UFC is screwing him over him pulling out on the Gaethje fight? Let me know in the comments down below. I have a few other topics I want to talk about as it relates to lightweight, but again, different video. Thank you for watching. Later.